Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Today we have another lesson in Mega Goal 6. In the previous lesson, we started the first lesson in Unit 2, Against the Odds. We talked about the title of this unit and we said that the meaning of against the odds is when something happened in a way that we didn't expect. Okay? Against the odds means something that happens in a way that we didn't expect. In the previous lesson, we started with the first skill, which is listen and discuss. We had some stories about events that happened against the odds. And after that, we went to the quick check. We answered the questions. Then we had two parts. The first one is vocabulary and the second one is comprehension. In the first one, vocabulary, we have 6 words that were extracted from the previous stories. The first one is assassinated, delighted, striking, astounded, resemblance, successively. We talked about their meanings and we said that the first one, assassinated, means someone was killed. Delighted means happy. Striking means grabbing attention. Astounded means something that also grabs attention or amazed by something. Resemblance, when two things look alike, we say that there is a resemblance between these two things. The last word, successively, means one things happen immediately after the other. Then we went to these 6 sentences and we filled the gaps with the correct answers as shown here on this slide. After that, we went to the second part, which is related to the comprehension of the reading. We have 5 questions. Number 1, how did Joseph Figlock save a baby twice? Number 2, why did a Japanese official from the 17th century decide to burn a certain kimono? Number 3, what happened when the kimono was burned? Number 4, how did Edwin Robinson's life change after he was struck by lightning? Number 5, when King Umberto I and the restaurant owner met, what similarities did they find they shared? And the answers of these questions are as shown here on this slide. Today, on page 22, we have a grammar lesson. The third part in this unit, which is grammar. Why do we study grammar lessons? In grammar lessons, we learn how to construct, how to build sentences properly. So in each grammar lesson, we learn a way of building a sentence in a correct way. Today we are going to have 2 parts. Our lesson is divided into 2 parts. In the first part, we are going to talk or to focus on such that and so that. These are 2 ways of expressing or showing the meaning or of an adverb or an adjective. What are the rules of so that or such that? They are used to make the meaning of the adjective or the adverb stronger. This is the first rule. And what other characteristics do they share? They both show or used to show cause and effect. They are used to show cause and effect. There are many ways of using so that and such that. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 forms of using such and so. We have only 1 way of using such and we have 3 ways for using so. In the first one, we use such with an adjective or when it is followed by an adjective and a noun follows an adjective. For example, we have here, it was such a strange experience. We have here an adjective, and after that we have a noun. Then we have that. When we have an adjective and after that a noun, here we use such. For example, it was such a strange experience. Jake is such a determined person. It was such a pleasant night. He was such a nice person. When we have an adjective and a noun, we immediately choose such. We go for such, and then we complete the rest of the sentence. After that, we have three types of constructing a sentence by using so. We use so when it is followed by an adjective or adverb. For example, finding my key or finding my keys on the beach was so unlikely that I was shocked when I spotted them. Here, so was followed by an adverb. There wasn't any noun or anything else. There was only an adverb. Number two, he ran so quickly that he won the race. Also, we have here another adverb. In the third type, we use so when it's followed by many or few, and many and also the word few are used with the plural count nouns. So when we are talking about the quantities of some things, we use many and few. We use these two words if we have accountable nouns. We use many if we have large quantity of something, and we use a few if you have just a little amount of that thing. Number one, we discovered so many similarities between our lives that it almost frightened us. Number two, so few people were accepted into the school that it's amazing we both get in. The last type is, or the last form is so and followed by much or little. Much or little are usually used with non-count nouns. Okay, so for example, I have so much homework that I won't be able to go out tonight, or he had so little training that no one thought he would be accepted to the energy company. Let's put in mind that that is frequently left out in casual speak. So when you talk to your friend or one of your family members or any casual situation, it is fine, or it is usually or the word that is usually left out. For example, the book was so popular that it sold out within a week. We can omit that or we can keep it. Either is correct. After that, we have here the first exercise regarding the first part of our lesson today, which is about such and so. We have here many types: such, so, so much, so many, so little, or so few. Now we will start with the first one. But I want you with the first one to put down your pen and read the sentence with me. We will try to answer the first question together so you understand how to get the proper answer from the previous rule. Number one, my grandfather drives slowly that other drivers get annoyed. The gap is followed by an adverb. Okay, so in the previous page, we talked about the adverbs, and we said that when we have an adverb, usually it is followed by, or the word so comes before it. So we say, my grandfather drives so slowly that other drivers get annoyed. Number two, I got sleep last night that I feel exhausted today. Sleep here is non-count noun, so I got so little sleep last night that I feel exhausted today. Number three, he has big family. we have here an adjective, then we have a noun. And we talked about this type of sentences. We said if we have an adjective and this adjective is followed by a noun, we use such. He has such a big family that he has cousins he hasn't even met. Number 4, they are good friends. Also here we have adjective and noun. But this noun is plural, not a singular. So the answer is they are such good friends without using the indefinite article a. Number 5, the restaurant was crowded that we couldn't get a seat. Number 6, there are rooms left in the hotel that we will have to take whatever is available. There are so few rooms. Okay, why did we use the word few? Because here he is talking about the shortage of the numbers of room. He is talking about something, or he is talking about the room that he couldn't even find himself a one. Okay, so we are talking here about little numbers of rooms. So the correct answer here is few. There are so few rooms left in the hotel. Number 7, there are so many good courses this year that I can't decide which one to take. Here we have the opposite situation. There are good courses this year that I can't decide which one to take. That means there are plenty of courses, so he is, or he couldn't, or she couldn't make her or his mind about which course that he or she could make. 8, that TV has large screen. Here also we have an adjective and noun, so such a large screen that it feels like you are almost part of the story. Number 9, there are so few shoppers in the store today that it looks empty. Number 10, there are so few good TV programs on these days that I hardly watch TV at all. After that, we have another exercise regarding so that and such that. In this exercise, we have 2 columns. In the left side, we have the first part of the sentences with the numbers, and on the right side, we have the second half of the sentence with the letters. On number 1, we have an example. I am having a good time. Then we were asked to choose the correct second half of the sentence, and the answer is D. I'm having a good time. I don't want to go home. We have to combine these 2 sentences together and use so that or such that in a proper way. The answer is, I am having such a good time that I don't want to go home. Okay? Number 2, the food was spicy. Number 3, Emma is a popular name. Number 4, the school is selective. Number 5, the company received many complaints. Number 6, my brother has won many sports trophies. Number 7, you made a big meal. Okay, as we have answered the first one together, you can pause the video right here and complete this exercise by your own self. And after that, you can resume and show or take a look at the answers on this slide. So the answers of the previous slide are as shown here on this page. After that, we have the second part of our lesson today, which is reducing adverb clauses. Okay, let's talk about the adverb clause firstly. Adverb clause usually starts with words like after, before, if, while, and so on. Okay, these words are, when you see these words, that means this is an adverb clause. And in each adverb clause, there is always a subject and a verb. As you can see here in the first sentence, after we met online, we have the word we, then comma, we discovered that we live in the same town. We use the word we one more time. We are trying in reducing the adverb clause to make the sentence shorter and also meaningful. An adverb clause can be reduced to a participle phrase when the subject of the adverb clause and the subject of the main clause are the same. We have here two subjects of the main clause and the subject of the adverb clause. They are both the same. So we can reduce these two clauses into one, or we can reduce these two subjects into one by adding ing to the verb. To do this, drop the subject in the adverb clause. This is the adverb clause. We said that it usually starts with words like after, before, if, while, when, and so on, okay? To do this, drop the subject in the adverb clause and follow it with a gerund. This is what we do, or this is the right way to answer the question, or to reduce the adverb sentence. After we met online, we discovered that we live in the same town. After meeting online, we discovered that we live in the same town. We took out the word we and we add the ing to the verb. Another sentence. I ran into him on the street while I was calling him on my cell phone. There is a point you should put in mind, that the adverb clause can come at the beginning or in the middle or at the end of the sentence. So in the first example, it was in the beginning, and in the second sentence, it is in the middle or in the second part of the sentence. I ran into him on the street while I was calling him on my cell phone. I ran into him on the street while calling him on my cell phone. We reduced I because it was mentioned twice, and we just used the word calling. After that, we have 7 sentences. But before we start doing these sentences together, let's take one example. While my brother was vacationing in New York City, he visited the Empire State Building. While my brother was vacationing in New York City, he visited the Empire State Building. Now, he talked about his brother here. Then, he mentioned his brother again, one more time. We can reduce these two subjects into one by adding a gerund to the verb. The verb here, vacationing, already has a gerund. It has already an ing, so we can just take out the subject and the helping verb and complete the sentence. While vacationing in New York City, my brother visited the Empire State Building. You can pause the video right here and do the following sentences by your own, and after that you can resume to show the answers and check whether your answers are correct or not. The first sentence is, after I finish a large meal, I often feel sleepy. Number 2, you should always put on sunscreen before you go to the beach. Number 3, while we waited for the bus, we looked through some magazines. Number 4, before they found an apartment to rent, they had looked at dozens of apartments. Number 5, before we moved to Riyadh, my family had always lived in the country. Number 6, since he joined the social networking site, he has met many new friends. While I was walking down the street, I ran into my old science teacher. Number 1, after I finish large meal, I often feel sleepy. Now we have here I and also I one more time. So what should we do? We have here an adverb clause. How did we know that it is an adverb clause? Because it started with the word after. So we take out the word I, then we add a gerund, we add an ing to the word finish. So the answer becomes like this. After finishing a large meal, I often feel sleepy. Number 2, you should always put on sunscreen before you go to the beach. You should always put on sunscreen before going to the beach. Here we have the word you, and also here we have the word you. So we reduced the second one, which is in the adverb clause, and we added the ing to the word go. Number 3, while we waited for the bus, we looked through some magazines. While waiting for the bus, we looked through some magazines. Number 4, before they found an apartment to rent, they had looked at dozens of apartments. Here we have before. We take out the word they. Before finding an apartment to rent, they had looked at dozens of apartments. Number 5, before we moved to Riyadh, my family had always lived in the country. Before moving to Riyadh, my family had always lived in the country. Number 6, since he joined the social networking site, he has met many new friends. Since joining the social networking site, he has met many new friends. Number 7, while I was walking down the street, I ran into my old science teacher. While walking down the street, I ran into my old science teacher. This is the last part of our lesson today. Thank you all for attending, and I wish you enjoy the rest of the day. Assalamu alaikum.